Wasn't Mao on board an aircraft carrier wearing a...
Yeah. Of course, this is their interpretation of events.
I know, but Macross Zero is like my favorite one, so like nitpicking. Hey everybody, welcome back to one of the Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, this is Lessons, and we are back with another episode of Macross Frontier. First off, though, we got a couple of comments. Reg... last name hard. Well, I shouldn't have said it that way. Reg Tian I guess. GHA sound. I don't know how to put that into the end of the Tian sound. Tianha. From the episode Macross 7 First Contact. VFs taking multiple hits. As the VF-19 and VF... Sorry, I said VF. I meant YF-19 and YF-21 showed in Macross Plus, they've miniaturized the pinpoint barrier tech to the point that they can put the systems in the fighters. That's why they were glowing green whenever and wherever they got hit in this episode, and why both Basara and Gamlen were able to survive multiple hits.
Yeah, we made a comment about that. And specifically when Basara uses this, he almost uses it in the shield. So that's why it glows green.
Well, I'll point out that I don't think Gamlen's has it.
It should.
We never see any of Diamond Force having pinpoint barriers on their ships.
Also, those are they're not YF-21s either, so.
Right, I'm saying the comment says that Gamlen were able to survive those hits. I think very specifically, I don't remember. First Contact was a long time ago, but it feels like I may have been talking about Gamlen at the time. Because
also plot armor, yeah.
Well, because every other member of, say, all the other forces that fly out get hit and blow up. The Diamond Force members get hit and they get, well, not blown up, but incapacitated. And Gamlen is just taking shot after shot with no problem. Or not no problem. Low difficulty, as the kids say. Low diff. Alright. Shadow 4002 says, from Macross 7 Spirit Girl, ships moving on a fixed course with no change in velocity are effectively stationary relative to each other. If you have a fleet in interstellar space moving in parallel, small vehicles could travel between them with very little energy required. Assuming same fixed velocity, the energy they would burn is simply what would be required to change positions. The equivalent of walking across the road to a house next door. If the ships were actively maneuvering, then this kind of travel becomes impossible until they stopped and reestablished parallel course and speed. Still kind of ludicrous for cars and bikes, but assuming you have very efficient and miniaturized thrusters, which they do, then it might work. People live/work on City 7 and its adjuncts, and work/live on the other fleet vessels.
Yeah, but first of all, and now that we're in Macross Frontier, we don't see that in Frontier. What we do see is extended city pods, right? So people travel from those. But we don't see that kind of thing. So they abandoned the idea of having these trucks in space and whatever. Also, it's like, what I really found kind of ridiculous was that, we're in this ship. Okay. So between me and outer space is like a thin bit of glass, right? And I don't even have a spacesuit. But if you go in a Valkyrie, which has armor and everything else, I'm going to wear a spacesuit, right? It was very inconsistent, right? So these people were really risking their lives on, assumedly tested but pretty thin technology. It kind of reminds me, I think I mentioned it back then, of Mass Effect when you're walking around the original game, and there was like these hostile planets, and they had these prefabs, and it was just like you go in, there's a door, there wasn't even an airlock, and so people were supposed to be living there, and between you and whatever harsh environment outside was like some windows, like Venetian style blinds, that was it, and a door. So I guess you woke up, the first thing you had to do is put up a spacesuit, right? And then go out and then open the windows, I guess. and go outside. It's like, oh, let me see how the toxic atmosphere, which is 57% carbon monoxide, uh, it's here doing today. Maybe oxygen account went up, in the last 12 hours I was sleeping or
Yeah, I
something.
guess your prefab is just basically the Martian thing after his airlock blew up.
Mhm. So
I mean, my point is more towards the fact that they point out even that if you have to start making turns on
mhm.
the Milky Road, as it were, then it all falls apart. And we've seen people have to make turns all the time on the Milky Road.
Yeah, they curve and everything else, right? Like a
Yeah,
highway in space.
yeah. I mean, which defeats the whole stationary objects effectively, because the idea of the velocity, we're all moving the same velocity. You launch from one ship, you have the carried over velocity of that ship, um, so long as you don't have any maneuvering. Also, it assumes that all ships are moving at the same velocity.
And keeping perfect formation with each other, and so you keep momentum when you launch. So, but still, you wouldn't want what ostensibly are dozens, hundreds, even thousands of civilians just out there in space, going from one ship to another. That's not very efficient, right? If somebody has to work in one place, then you will probably, I mean, it's not that people cannot switch ships. That kind of makes sense. You will have to. You have shuttles and stuff like that. But having all these, it's also like the buildings that go over the canopy as well. Like I was making the joke about, hey, Amelia's office is so important that she has a space penthouse. And what happens? This alien breaks through a window, and then shutters have to come down, or everybody dies in the building. Right? It's like, okay, this is what's happening, and she's like, oh no,
I
like
mean,
why don't you build the building inside the shield bubble where it still has air pressure and all that?
it's more of even a safety concern than just the way you were talking about with spacesuits and how thin the barrier is to you in space, because we know that we're in a war zone. I mean, not even just the people we're fighting in that show. We know that there's roaming bands of rogues and trotty. Apparently, by the time of Macross 7, the Vajra were also known about. Maybe kept secret, but they were known about by the military. And they're like, what's the easiest thing we can do to put people in danger? Let them roam around space in their cars so that, in any random attack scenario, it's not only launch the defense, get the Valkyries out there, call in all cars on the road. You know, we can't have, oh no, it's big traffic between whatever the Hollywood ship and City 7 is today. It's going to take an hour to get all those cars onto the ship. Well, we're
Yeah.
under attack now. There's sitting ducks out there for anyone that wants to make us pay,
Mhm.
Shoot the civilians first, I guess.
And also, let's be perfectly honest. In road, space is three dimensional. We live in a three dimensional world, but we're used to having two dimension defined by the ground. The moment you switch that off, and somebody who is, literally have, like I said about, they talk about in Gundam where they're using a wheel, but then they actually can pull back on the wheel. Are those wheels that because you're driving a car? Are they three dimensional where you're going like this and you're piloting your car in three dimensions? Oh, the switch of the Milky Road. What do I do? Below me it's space. Above me is space. I gotta go there, and there's stuff flying. What?
It's probably a wheel and a pivot that
Yeah,
old school. Um,
yoke. Yeah,
yeah, that sort of thing. Sorry, my voice cracking for no reason. Yeah, that sort of thing. I don't know. When you went the 3-dimensional route, the first thing that came to my mind for some reason was Back to the Future,
Mhm.
2. When you have flying car scenario, but you still have
Yeah.
highways, and it's like, well, yeah, I could probably see that. Like FAA controls certain amount of airspace above and below a route for large traffic or military traffic or whatever. So it doesn't seem off kilter to me that there are flat planing, they're rather conning it. But also, they have to, if they're in formation, probably have to be in line from one dock to another.
Mm-hmm.
You're restricted by that unless you don't want people, freeboating it. Well, so
And
don't
also,
want somebody crashing into the City 7 dome,
yeah. Also, not very efficient as well because again, you have to go through a process of going through a series of airlocks. That has to take time, right? Because either each car has its own individual airlock, or you take them by blocks. Like, 10 vehicles airlock. Okay, everybody park or whatever. 10 more vehicles airlock.
Well, we
Out,
never really
etc.
see it. I know the cars don't have airlocks because, oh god, names. What was
The bikers,
the main girl?
Mylene.
Mylene. Sorry. Misa was coming to my head. Minmay was coming to my head. Couldn't get to Mylene. We
Yeah,
know that her convertible doesn't have an airlock.
yeah.
Unless you consider the convertible thing an airlock. Either you have air or you don't. But
Hmm.
the other thing that comes to mind is the early episode where, well, in that case it wasn't early. Gamlin is chasing down the intruders who have their own little, like, camouflaged ship
Hmm.
mixed in with
Yeah,
everything else, and they go to the hangar bay, and you see them just pull in, and then you go inside the hangar bay. There was no middle part.
yeah.
They just flew in, and then they were in.
I guess they may have you doing the Star Wars thing where they're using a shield or something like a translucent shield to keep the air in, but you know,
I mean, we got
uh,
pinpoint tech. I guess maybe pinpoint shields can do that.
air shields, which to me, I mean, it's a softer side of sci-fi. So it's like a shield that can stop a car that won't stop a car, but stops air molecules. Always
Oh
been
no,
a
I mean
thing
it
there.
could be like episode 1, right? Just a series
Hmm.
of shields.
Yeah,
So you
I
drop
guess so.
like 3 shields in front. You drop the first shield. You raise 3 shields in front, and then do as the car goes through. So
Hmm. Either way, it seems to be pretty time consuming, and it's still and power consuming as well. Because if you're relying on shields, the power goes off, and
power has literally never been a concern in these shows.
I mean, true. I mean, but by battle damage, something like that, not by sheer amount of, you
Well,
know.
again, we're also making it up because the show didn't deign to cover it.
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of thing that makes it. I said, kind of like a Saturday morning cartoon, right? When Saturday morning cartoons, I don't care, right? It's Futurama. They're driving in Mercury, and it's like if we're for the very powerful AC, they would be cooked, right? Kind of like that. It doesn't matter.
It's not a problem until the show makes it a plot
It's,
point. All right, well, those are the comments. We go into our new thought section format. No recaps, just thoughts. So,
just
what do you
thoughts.
got?
Well, we're seeing it shift here into the more. Well, there's always been a mystery, especially who and what the Varja are, but they're not treated completely as mysterious as they were in Macross 7. Like, oh, we don't know what they are. It's like, yeah, we have some clue what they are, right? We don't know everything, but we have a clue what they are, right?
I mean, I
But
covered
now we're,
last time that we've known them for a while. They just haven't been public information.
yeah, but there's stuff about the Varja we don't know yet, and
I'm assuming
also,
that when you watched this originally, you were calling them Varja
mhm,
because you keep
yeah,
calling them Varja, even though they're the Vajra.
Vajra,
It's the hardest thing to do is to get over something that you've been doing forever.
yeah, uh, and now also we have the deepening of the romantic triangle, right?
Not really.
With we have
Well, if you say deepening, I would say it's getting further apart.
I mean, Alto seems to be shifting more and more with what's her
Well,
name?
it's not even.
Cheryl.
It's not even about Alto. It's like Cheryl is doing everything,
Mhm.
and also people are doing shit on Cheryl's behalf. So it's not about what Alto wants. Alto is like the least maneuverable pin in this pegboard of relationship statuses, and that Alto doesn't acknowledge anybody as anything.
Mm.
Ranka clearly wants to get in there, but Ranka keeps getting pushed away by Cheryl, who is taking control of everything. So it's literally dominant force Cheryl, and then Ranka and Alto.
True. I mean, it doesn't have to be. I mean, we call it triangle, but it doesn't have to be what's it called? Um, equally sided triangle. I forgot
Sorry,
the term
what
for
we
that.
got? Isosceles, equilateral triangle.
Equilateral, yeah. It doesn't have to be an equilateral triangle to still be a
Well, I
triangle.
was just saying, I don't even think it's a triangle. Well, one, it's not a triangle specifically because Ranka doesn't have any feelings for Cheryl.
I mean, it, in a typical dramatic triangle, you don't the bottom parts don't have to be attracted to each other.
Well, it's not a triangle then. I think we should be correct about our statements here.
That's what it's called. I guess it's I don't know, a two-legged TV stand. I don't
It's
know what you want to call it.
what do you call the things that puppets you control puppets with?
Strings.
No, the little 4-post wooden thing that has the strings coming off of it.
I don't know how that's called, actually, to be perfectly honest.
You know what I'm
I always
talking
said
about, though.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. The controls, but I don't know what they're
Yeah,
called.
because
Then they
typically
have
when
to have
you're
a
watching
name.
like a puppet show or something, it's on top of the or behind the board, so all you see is the strings, but it's the controlling mechanism. Anyway, it's one of those with just the strings hanging off of it. It represents the actual love status, and everyone's strings are coming off of it, but they all hang loose on the bottom. And sometimes they touch together with the love connections being made, but otherwise, there's, again, Ranka doesn't love Cheryl. Cheryl doesn't love Ranka, as far as we know.
But they're not enemies either.
They are
That's
kind of.
interesting. Well, not really. I mean, they might be.
Well,
okay.
Here's I have a specific argument that I'm not going to make yet until I get into my actual notes, but arguably, Grace is Ranka's enemy, and Grace is operating on Cheryl's behalf. There is an enemy triangle in your parlance happening here. So, in the act of Grace operating on Cheryl's behalf, makes Cheryl Ranka's enemy.
But can you really be an enemy without trying to actively harm somebody?
Yes. I've been an asshole plenty of times in my life where I've inadvertently hurt people that I did not fucking mean to.
I mean, true, but it seems actually that Cheryl wants to help Ranka.
Also, you can be very belligerent or ignorant of your actions. Cheryl is just trying to have a good time and fun, and she's actively pushing Alto away from Ranka by, hogging all of her time with him. So, that's what I'm saying. That was the whole point of my whole Ranka and Alto don't really matter to the love triangle equation because Cheryl is just domineering everything.
Yeah. We also have the mystery of who is in that fighter that showed up at the very end.
Let's see. I'll just jump into my thing here. My guess is that our guy is from Galaxy, and the Galaxy is secretly fine. We saw in his first appearance that he was flying with 2 other Valkyries back to a location, which I would have to assume is their home base, before he later shows up on the frontier. Last episode, he launches from the frontier and is receiving orders from a voice I didn't recognize. My first guess is going to be Grace. I wrote again because I referenced Grace a lot during my notes. She's already hacking into government meetings. She could cover up an unscheduled launch and docking if she wanted to. She's from the Galaxy and has illegal tech in her. Seems like the best match.
And he's supposed to, I mean, the fact that he can react much faster than even Alto implies that he...
Alto.
Yeah.
As though Alto had the best reaction speed. You remember 2 or 3 episodes back, Alto was watching Ozma juke around the battlefield. Like, oh god, he moves so fucking fast.
Yeah. I mean, that is true. But he's pretty good pilot too, so, I mean,
of course, he's a main character. He's got no choice to be a good pilot.
Yeah.
If he isn't one, the show will make him one.
So that's also. Oh, and I did point out, I don't know if you caught this in the rewatch, but he's playing the harmonica, and the
He's
song
playing
that
the
he's
same.
playing.
You said that, yeah.
Yeah.
He's playing the same song that Rank is singing. Well, I mean, they
Yeah.
make that perfectly clear by the fact that Rank is singing it, and then you hear harmonic backup. It's like, they've never played harmonic backup to it before. Could it be that guy in the background with harmonica?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I specifically did remember that. I may have it in a note. I don't know. The problem
But
is,
yeah, that's what.
my problem is I don't my notes. So again, I'll preface this before I ever get into the 2 a.m. notes.
So yeah, things to be coming down. I mean, also we're heading to the middle part of the. Well, we're in early to
Oh
transform
yeah,
to
we're not in
middle
the
parts.
middle. I think we're like in the first third still.
Yeah, 25 episodes. We're 10. We're gonna hit episode 10.
Oh, is it only
So
25?
yeah, because that's a whole.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
a
so
whole.
used to like 40. So I'm like, we're not even close to the first half.
That's a whole theming of this of Macross Frontier. It was the 25th. It was not the 25th. It was the 25th anniversary of Macross. So everything is themed 2025, like the VFF
No, they're
25,
gonna fuck
20,
themselves over with that when they get to the 100th anniversary.
25 episode, etc. That sort of thing. I think that's similar to what happened with Gundam Seed, where they were theming it for the 30th anniversary of Gundam. I think it was.
I don't remember anything in Gundam Seed based on
Yeah,
30s.
yeah. Or something happened. I remember one of the shows in Gundam had that theming convention as well. We talked about that earlier. I don't know if it was Gundam Seed or not. Um, but yeah, that's the thing.
I
So
remember the
those are my thoughts.
conversation. I don't remember what it regarded.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna start looking on Google. I'm not gonna Google it. I'm too lazy.
Well, I mean, thinking about it is the much effort that I'm going to put in trying to remember
Yeah.
what conversation we had. I'm just thinking that the theming in Macross is fucking obvious in that they will put the number out there in ways that don't make sense. Like I conversationed before. What the fuck is going on with my brain? I talked to you before about the whole Catherine being a former runner-up of the Macross Miss Macross competition, and the board saying 25th anniversary. Well, that doesn't make any sense because one, it's not the 25th Miss Macross competition that's happening. It's not been 25 years since the launch of the first Macross or this Macross. So it's like the number doesn't make any sense whatsoever. We've just shoehorned 25 in because we want to keep reminding you.
Yeah, that's a 25th anniversary, which was in 2008, 2007, I think, when this came out. Yeah.
Well, again, my point was that's in universe.
Yeah.
All right, well, then my thoughts here. So, strange moment between Catherine and... I clearly meant to write the captain, but I've written between Catherine and the Wilder at the start of episode 7. When discussing how to approach the situation, Catherine suggests that gathering information on the Vajra would be more important than rescuing the surviving ships. Wilder asks if he should take these as orders from the president rather than the new United Nations, and Catherine excitedly says that would be excellent. I found it interesting as it would imply that presidents of Macross fleets would be able to act with authority outside the bounds of the new United Nations command in matters addressing them locally. Kind of like a reverse version of Article 6 of the U.S. Constitution, where the Supremacy Clause states that the federal law supersedes state law in the events of a conflict. In this case, presidential orders supersede none orders in the events of a conflict.
I mean, it's background material to why the new United Nations is the new United Nations. I don't know if you want me to talk about that because it's not shown in the shows. So it's a video game manga
I mean, it's
thing
an
that happens.
unwritten note that I had in my head
Yeah.
to put on the paper here that I don't know. The thing is, I'm wondering why they're the new United Nations and what's happened, but they don't address it. And obviously, if I don't know, the show is never going to address it. I don't know when to write down. When are they going to tell us about it?
Yeah.
Obviously, the first thought is coup.
What?
Coup. COUP.
C-O? Coop. Ah, cool. I thought you said
You don't
ooh. I'm
pronounce
like,
the
ooh.
P in coup.
I know, but it's like it sounded like who. I'm like, who's on first? Like, oh, a coup
No,
d'etat.
what is
Yeah,
on
okay.
second?
Yeah. Uh, yeah, it's kind of part of the backstory. Yeah, it's mostly in delved down in video
Well,
games.
no, I mean, because if you think back to Macross Plus, and I know we all do from time to time.
I do.
Well, I don't, but Isamu, his record of where he
Mhm.
was deployed and everything like that featured a lot of inter-UN spacey conflicts, it feels like.
Mhm.
Like he was like putting down military uprisings and whatnot on like colony worlds.
Yeah.
Uh, see, the fact is that I may not have enjoyed Macross Plus, but I still use it in my internal headcanon of world building. So his
Mhm.
record of where he got deployed and everything is the world building device of which I try to base what's going on in the rest of the galaxy. So the fact that that kind of shit was going on kind of paints the UN Spacey as sort of an authoritarian government. So I guess because obviously, I don't know. Maybe it's because I watch a lot of that guy's channel. Checkmate Leakinites now. Uh, that the first thing that comes to my head is, oh god, now I can't remember the name of the name of the dudes about when they were overtaxing the poor in Massachusetts
Mhm.
and taking their homes away
Oh,
when they couldn't pay.
the Whiskey Rebellion.
No, it's not. Well, that's one of the ones of the same era, but no, this is like it starts with an S. It's
I
the
think I
name
know.
of a former veteran, which led to
Mhm.
the
Space Rebellion.
Shays Rebellion. Yeah, Shays. It reminds me of that, or it makes me think of like Shays Rebellion sort of stuff that maybe colonists and what are not happy with their with their very distant leaders, which are trying to dictate their lives, and they're
Mhm.
maybe rising up, maybe not in full rebellion, but to try to assert their own rights over their own colony situations far from Earth. And UN Spacey is being called in to put these things down, and that's why my first thought is coup. Maybe this shit just doesn't stand, but
Mhm.
it's a background information thing.
Yeah.
Got no idea. Obviously, something has happened that
Mhm.
UN Spacey, um, the military, has been really pulled back to the point now that we got SMS, which is better than the military. So either we've like shackled the military's ability to do stuff because of background elements, or I don't know.
It's something to watch out for. I put it that way.
Well, I mean, apparently not. Given that you've just told me it happens in video games and not in the show. So.
I mean, I'm talking about, how can I say this? I'm talking about the origins of and the new United Nations, the nuns. What she says about the conflict between the current nuns and the authority of the president, was the leader, the civilian leader of Frontier, is something to keep an eye on.
Well, again, it's not so much what she says; it's what Wilder says.
Mhm.
I guess it's the whole interaction. She
Yeah.
says one thing, and then Wilder implies, "Oh, should I take that as an order from the president?" Implying that if she said that was an order from the president, he would supersede whatever the nun general command would be. Because apparently, the nun general command would be to rescue the ships.
I mean, there are other fighting warships. So I guess you want to preserve them. Nothing
Well, I mean,
else.
they're also, refugees from a fight that are under attack and not able to defend themselves.
Yeah.
Hearing some guy screaming at the concert, "We're culturing," only makes me think back to Kwam Zim and his "We'll culture later" comments.
Culture or deculture.
Well, Kwam Zim very
Yeah,
specifically referred to
know, I
culture, and
know.
so essentially it's two people in the or could be any number of people, but the point is some guy is basically screaming, "We're fucking." So it's like they didn't think that, and we'd all remember what SDF Macross Zentradi thought culture meant as a word, and then tried to reclaim the word. It's like, I remember when this meant something else. It also seems like we don't need to call in to the new United Nations to deploy nukes anymore. That, or to the previous conversation, the president of each fleet can make that call on their own now.
I mean, it makes sense, I suppose, because on one hand, you don't want to start a interstellar incident. That's what you would want to call the UN for it. Like, should we do this? Maybe, maybe not. But on the other hand, oh, we're going to wait until the call comes in. If they decide what's going to happen, oh, we're dead. Oops.
I mean, it worked in Macross 7.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
the
actually, it
idea of
didn't
calling
work.
in, because the idea is also segmented information.
Mm-hmm.
You should only have as much information as is pertinent to you where you are. We don't need to overload you with all the information of the galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you should. Macross Frontier should only know what it needs for everybody that's on the ship. So, medical records from across civilization, of course, for everybody that's traveling and whatnot. But otherwise, all they really need to know is the section of space they're in, the section of space they're heading to, and anything heading towards them. Everything else should be superfluous.
Background noise.
I would say on need to know, but maybe it is. Maybe they just literally need to know without the emphasis on information being kept from you. Like, need to know in the aspect of Wikipedia, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anything you want to know, you can find out, but everything that's important to you is immediate. Everything else you have to call in for. Need to know.
Yeah. Also, with these fold phenomena, I don't know because now we have that in this show. How frequently can you call out? Right? I mean, they even said that information could be delayed by days. So in 7, it's like, oh, I called and I'm immediately communicating with Earth or wherever they were talking about, wherever UN Basic
Well, I
Command
mean,
was.
except that we've already defeated that problem. 1 or 2 episodes ago, they talked about a new experimental fold communication device. So we've already defeated the fold. The fold problem is now a transportation problem. We've defeated the fold is limiting our communications problem.
Yeah.
Well, in so much of the same way that the old experimental fold jump devices got rid of the transportation problem. Well, except now that we've remade a new problem for it. But yeah, no, I think it was Luca who was talking about it in one of the last 3 episodes.
Yeah.
So they have a new experimental fold communications thing, which will allow them to get around that whole thing. It's just, I guess, they don't know where the galaxy is to try and call it. So the reason Luca got so close to the battleship was that they were given orders to prioritize information gathering over everything else. I was questioning why he was just drifting in towards the battleship, but that context at least explains the stupid-ass thing he was doing.
Although he does have drones, he could have used those.
I don't know that he does, because the ship, or the fighter thing, I don't know the name of it, that he was in during that episode didn't seem to have any.
he actually was talking to one of the drones before he launched. He was like polishing the the camera glass things, like, and he actually has names for them. So yeah.
I don't know. He's in the he's got the spinny sensor dome on
Yeah.
top of it. Yeah, and that
Mhm.
one wasn't launching any drones during any of that fight. So I don't know. Okay. I have no idea what the hell is up with Renka. I still got the secret Name theory, but then her freaking crotch started to glow at the concert, and I got no clue.
What?
You didn't see it?
No, I did not see that.
Yeah, her crotch started glowing during the concert. It's in a shot where the camera's panning down her, and then like literally her hand goes like towards her stomach, but below her hand towards her crotch area glows with a light.
I missed that. Okay.
All right, well, I got more. I mean, she has been carrying a Vajra kid. Has she? Sorry, I missed the word has. I mean, has she been carrying a Vajra kid for the last few years? I have no context to make sense of it now that Frontier is introducing so many new concepts to the series for me to find a level footing on. Like, the Galaxy is doing experiments with cybernetics, right? And Gracev has some of them in her, but we don't know the extent of what kind of cyborgs we might see in the future or what they could do. Combined with that, with the fact that Renka's past is kind of nebulous, and there's no telling. Additionally, there was that shower scene where everyone could have seen if something had been obviously different about her. We also know that Leon suspects something is up with her, but only recently, considering they've been on the same ship for a while and he is only actively having her investigated now.
I mean, I don't know what to say about that because I'm still okay. I get my mind out of the gutter there. Um, and
Yes, there are LED dildos, if that's what you're thinking about.
no. Now that you said about that, yes, I'm thinking about it. I shouldn't be.
Well, to be fair, in your defense, she is a legal age anime character. We've covered that before. She's shorter, but we've covered the fact that she's like 18 or something.
She's 16 and she's gonna be 17.
Well, then shame on you. I mean, I don't know, man. I stepped in your defense, and you're like outing yourself.
No, that's not what I meant. Because I didn't catch that. Or if I did, I didn't. Never mind. The thing is,
Again, the camera pans down and like brings attention to it, so it's like you have to notice it. I mean, you don't have to, obviously, but it's what it seems like the camera is doing.
Yeah, it's Macross being naughty again.
Oh no, I don't think it's naughty. I just think it's like something's up
or down.
Again, I'm being serious, and you're being provocative.
I'm not saying.
Again, my point is that it's the point of the camera shot because otherwise, there's literally no point. It's not like a sexy scene or anything. It's like literally her shirt is like outwards a bit. Like it's not like one of those. Oh, look how the shirt's hugging her body. Look at the glow of her crotch or whatever. Like weird thing kids might say if they don't understand sex. Look at the glow of her crotch. You know, but it's like literally her shirt's hanging out, and then her hand moves down, and then her crotch starts to glow. And when I say crotch, I mean like crotch region, like anywhere from like upper hip to like upper thigh. Somewhere in that region is glowing.
Okay. It might be that Leon just didn't know about her or knew something about her, and like, oh, I remember something now that I see this image of this. Like he didn't pay it any mind because nothing had happened recently, so it's like, oh, wait a minute, I know about that girl. Interesting. And so he keeps investigating as opposed to always have his eye on her, like, oh, I must keep a watch of this girl. This girl is important for the plot. Yes.
I don't know. It doesn't seem like that's Leon's character to be surprised by a sudden appearance of a person, considering that we've already had him going over, like, or having Catherine go over. What was it, Catherine? Yeah, Catherine. Going over all the paperwork of random people, including, if you might recall, Dizzy Gillespie. So the fact he's being so careful as to go over long dead people that apparently been recloned and have the exact same storyline as their original person. They included it in the fucking show. I don't know what to say. They made Dizzy Gillespie alive again, have the same backstory, but also birthdays that are in the future. So,
yeah.
Cheryl's earrings glowed when Renka yelled at her. The Vajra responded to her voice, if even to attack where she is. Cheryl's mother gave her the earrings, so we don't know exactly where they came from before that to give the shine any significance. The new guy heard Cheryl singing through her earring. So that means what? The earrings are quantum entangled, sending information from one to the other, regardless of distance? More than that, though, was the new guy on the same communication channel as everyone else and heard it that way? It doesn't seem like it, as no one else was asking why Cheryl's voice was coming through the radio, so it must not have been that. Meaning that he was hearing it through Alto's Valkyrie, possibly through a vacuum, and into his own Valkyrie. Again, it's the multiple problems of the scenario being presented. And from one end, we know that Cheryl is having a concert, right? And we know she's wearing an earring. The other earring is hanging in Alto's Valkyrie cockpit. We very specifically focus on it, where we see, like, visualization of Cheryl's song. So, that alone is where I pull up the quantum entanglement thing, that clearly the earring she's wearing and the earring that's now glowing in Alto's pod is somehow projecting her audio from the concert.
Yeah.
Cool, weird, whatever. Maybe the earrings are quantum entangled, even though that's not how that would work. Yeah, I guess maybe. Technically, maybe the vibration could somehow be mirrored between two objects, but again, still not technically how that's supposed to work. Either way, Alto doesn't suggest that he can hear it, so Alto is not hearing the song. Nobody else.
I think he does. He actually kind of looks at it and goes like, something going on.
Nobody else listening to Alto's radio comments, Alto, why are you listening to music? To be fair, though, they are inside the battleship, so maybe the same way that they couldn't communicate with Luca while he was inside the thing. Possible. But again, well, I guess the other route here in the why I would not be a good Sherlock Holmes is that I would not discount anything. Every crazy assumption would enter my field. The fact we don't know if the inside of the battleship is a vacuum.
It doesn't seem to be. I think.
Well, the fact that it opens up in and out constantly and doesn't seem to form any vacuum seal. So, like, when it opens up again, there's no, like, escape of an atmosphere. Also, apparently there's no pull, because we have a bunch of objects that are just, like, laying about that don't seem to get moved when it opens up.
So, some kind of artificial gravity?
Well, no, I mean, like, say the tentacles that got, I don't know what they are, to call them tentacles, like, Lacus, wrong show, Lucas has to, his valve has to shoot to have him let go, that are just hanging there. When the thing opens up, they don't, like, drift towards the opening, as though atmosphere is being pulled that way. They just hang, so... So again, I'm assuming vacuum.
Right. Yeah.
So vacuum surrounds the Valkyries, which would mean audio is not going to be, there's no atmosphere to vibrate to have the sound travel. So is this guy just quantum antagonists? I mean, what is up with that? I guess there's also the element of the earrings glow when they're doing that thing, and then Renka's crotch glowed. I mean, that's not even a joke. I mean, I understand you didn't see it, but having been seen, and we have this element of these things glow when like they're singing or whatever happens. It's just another thing. I guess our new brand of fighters don't have pinpoint shields anymore.
I have to check. I think what's his name does have it.
Alto gets shot in the back, no pinpoint shield. Michael, I don't think has been hit because he's a sniper and he's out of combat. The problem is with clan and gang, theirs, one, aren't that model, and two, the only time I've seen them get hit is during a paintball competition, in which case they might not have had shields for that. So my only real example here is Alto getting shot in the back by Michael.
Yeah, no. Or I mean, maybe the pinpoint barrier has to be something that you control. If you get shot,
that would be horrible. One thing, you're controlling a fighter jet at like so fast that literally we watch them at a distance and they might as well be Dragon Ball Z, right? They just too fast for me to see. You're doing that at high speed in an area with objects that you have to be worried about running into while trying to aim weaponry, some of it which is homing, some of it which is not, and then also controlling a pinpoint barrier that moves all over your body while trying to also do a vector analysis on the shots that are coming in at you. At what point do you want to say that some of this might be computer assisted?
I mean, I'm sure a lot of it is computer assisted. Otherwise, it wouldn't work. I mean, it could be that you don't. If it's as a pinpoint barrier, it doesn't cover the entirety of the.
Well, no, that's a given.
Valkyrie, yeah. So they say, "Oh, I want to put it on the front because that's where I expect most attacks to come from." Right.
I mean, that would be a dumb assumption.
Oh, you're facing the enemy, and the enemy's facing you. You're going to try to face the enemy. So
why would you assume the enemy's facing you? How many dogfights do you watch that the other one is coming right at you? Most dogfights are back to back. Watch most Top Gun. All this is based off of.
Macross, that's what they do. They do turning fights where they're looking at each other. So
that just seems dumb. Even the concept of firing a missile, when you're facing the other enemy, the other missile you're going to be moving so fast that missile's going to be coming in from behind you anyway. I can't even imagine this world. Man, I'm not made for this world. Like, I mean, you can't throw out how much of this is based off of Top Gun and then be like, oh yeah, all the fights are face to face. Our new Macross ship transformed to go into melee combat with the Vajra battleship, but when all was said and done, it had perched itself on it slightly and then fired a cannon in its face. Fairly large difference between entering melee combat range and actual melee combat. No defense? No defense for the stupidity of that line?
It's not. I mean, I think that it's just like, oh, we're going to get close to them, which they kind of did.
No, they said they were going to enter melee combat. And it turns out they didn't even have a melee combat weapon.
Were you expecting them to pull out a sword or something?
They said melee combat. I didn't say that. Actually, my expectation was that they were going to do the punch from SDF Macross. They didn't do that.
No.
Okay, I just thought maybe you had an opinion.
No, I don't think it's a significant thing, to be perfectly honest.
I think it's significant enough only in that it behooves future commentary.
Mm-hmm.
And by which I don't mean just us talking about it now. I mean, like, if they say again, all right, transform so we can get melee combat, I am now put on the back foot to think, do they mean it? Am I going to see some melee combat, or are they just going to fire a gun again? The melee combat gun.
Could be a mistranslation as well.
Well, that's something I can't talk about. Hey, remember that time where they mistranslated a thing? I'm going to say, based on my extensive knowledge of Japanese, we all know that I barely know one language, and maybe like 5% of German. Cheryl's earring comment again. It was hanging in Alto's cockpit. He gets out. We don't see it in his hand during any of the next scenes. New guy is nearby, never gets out of his cockpit, nor do we see the earring in any of his next scenes. The only time we see it is after the new guy is playing Rinka's song on the harmonica, and the visuals for the credits show the credits show it for some reason, the earring. I'm assuming it's not the last time we'll be seeing it, despite Cheryl saying that Alto lost it in space.
Did he lost it in space?
She says he did.
He did.
No, literally, my whole comment here just describes him losing in space. So go ahead, tell me why you don't think he did, without spoiling for the fact that you remember seeing it later in the show.
I mean, I thought he stayed hanging in the cockpit because he put it in.
You do remember that his Valkyrie explodes in that episode, right?
Oh, well, then he didn't take it with him. Then
that's why he jumps out to go to. I want to keep on calling him Blackus because in my head,
Luca.
Yeah, I know it's L. It's same letters except for the S, apparently. But he jumps out of his cockpit into Luca's, plugs himself in, and then takes control of Luca's Valkyrie because his has just exploded.
Yeah, and that's he's the one who does the shooting out and then.
Right.
Go out, yeah.
So that's the aspect that the earring is lost in space. Technically, it would have been lost inside the battleship, if not for the battleship getting. You've seen Gurren Lagann before, right?
Spiral wave cannon, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what it looks like. Except somehow worse. When did this come out?
I liked it. I think 2008, 2009, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, after Gurren Lagann. You say you liked it, but my point is that some of the CGI of the show is not good. Well, think back to what was it? It was on the last episode. Episode before last, when the limo carrying Cheryl to the school shows up.
Yeah,
that is bad CGI.
Yeah,
like it's just a still frame of everybody at the school, and then the limo just, and it is. Might as well just be a still shot of the limo that they just dragged around. It is not good. Anyway, the spiral cannon shot that takes out the battleship, same sort of thing. They animated it in Gurren Lagann, so I've seen it. I've seen it pretty good. But the battleship was kind of CGI. I don't know what you call particle effects that interact with CGI. Because there's obviously a difference between animated particle effects and computer-generated particle effects.
I think all of it is computer-generated, so...
No, like, again, I'm using Gurren Lagann as an example. Gurren Lagann's particle effects were animated. They look hand-animated. Even if they're not hand-animated, they looked hand-animated. Versus these, which were computer-generated particle effects, because they also had to interact with the computer-generated battleship. So, they have this look that they are meant to be together visually. And it just doesn't work as well for me. I think I described this effect as like the Lion Barrels of Iron problem, where you have a show full of animation or
hand-drawn animation.
Yeah, hand-drawn animation, and then we pan over to the very specific subset of the show, which is CGI. And that's the combination of the two doesn't tend to work well unless it's done on purpose. I know specifically there's some shows where the enemies are CGI just to make them other. Like they stand out for a reason rather than just being cool and cheap technology. Episode 8's intro narration had some implications that either doesn't align with the info we've seen or implies a large amount of background activity that just isn't being shown to us. First thing, we are seeing drones exploring ruins of dead protoculture ruins, and possibly even corpses. The building that had been raised from the sea on planet Lux via a convoluted process was the only protoculture ruin we've seen, outside the possibility of the ruin on Earth from the movie. So this would be a major discovery that we are hand-waving in an opening narration. And not for nothing, but the narrator also says that humanity was created in the midst of these conflicts to inherit the protoculture's peace and culture. 500,000 years ago? Our species is millions of years old. The Birdman thing from Zero implies our species was only meddled with, not created. I mean, I don't know how to put this into context with the Lux door opener of mixed blood equaling a child of peace. If we were created to inherit their peace, that'd mean any human blood would have opened that door.
Yeah, but it's Macross 7, so...
You can't deny it exists. Also, you don't even have, like, the GT. You don't have the GT, like, room of, this wasn't created by the creator. It's like, no. Company signed off on it. This is Macross.
I mean, I don't have to give it any weight.
I don't know. You made me sad when you said that. I don't know how to. Well, see, I don't know how to.
It's
it has weight because it's part of the show.
It's the Alien 4 phenomenon. Where people go like, "Yeah, no, we don't like that movie, so it's not part of the." What was my friends used to call it? Alien defecation.
No, I mean I understand what you're saying. Again, that's why I said GT. Dragon Ball fans all say GT doesn't exist. But it doesn't. There's not that going on here. There's no. In fact, I say the opposite is true. People fucking love Macross 7. So
yeah, that's true. No, but I think those were not. I think those were shots from Zero originally. They were not new footage. I gotta go back and see it because I don't remember. I mean, like 2 weeks now. I gotta go back. That's episode. Which episode? 8.
Yes, according to my note here, it was episode 8.
Okay, because I think I remember it a little bit different, but I could be wrong. Let me just check real quick because I want to make sure I'm on the same page as you.
It's in the intro, so you can't miss it.
No, this is not. 8.
And I guess to cover the audio here.
No. That's a footage taken directly from Macross Zero. So it's not new places that they're discovering. That's literally when they were pulling out the Birdman, right? That was headless. That they sent some like subs to the bottom to see it. It's literally Macross Zero footage. So it's not they're not casually discovering new protoculture places.
Keep talking.
Right? Yeah, it's it's Macross 7. It's like, wait a minute, Macross 0 recycle footage. That's what they did. So ostensibly,
okay, Macross 0 came out in 2002, so 6 years before this.
Yeah.
Since we're watching chronologically, it's hard to remember what came out first and when. It's a weird thing to show us that, though.
Why is it weird?
Oh, because that's before the, that is the end of the UN v anti-UN? Was it anti-UN? Stupid naming terms of that era. That was the end of the UN versus anti-UN war, which is so far before everything else that we've established already.
Oh, it's a year before the Space War 1, so...
Yeah, well, okay. You got me in chronology. So far beyond. Goddamn you facts. Anyway, well, I just mean, like, in terms of understanding anything that we've seen. Like, Also, the fucking Earth got destroyed in between there and now, so it's not destroyed, but I don't imagine that those ruins or anything around them are around.
I know. I mean, that's just a video of them finding the Birdman. That's it. It's not really not well. I guess they're ruins because it would be part of wherever they were found. They would consider protoculture ruins, right?
I mean, also that thing put itself together, flew off, so it's not even like I don't even know how to preface this. It'd be like showing us E.T. running around as a shot of remember that first contact with aliens that we made, as though we got any information from E.T.
Okay,
E.T. went back home, if you don't recall.
True, but if you want to show an image of, hey, aliens exist, this is video of the aliens. It doesn't matter if they left or not. You have the video.
Yeah, I feel like I was going to a different point that I just didn't get there.
And also, more aliens showed up a year later and, now are part of our society. So, no, I don't think that's weird.
Well, no, their emphasis was on protoculture also. They're now telling us that Birdman was protoculture.
We always knew it was protoculture.
No, you always knew it was protoculture. There was a heavy doubt. Obviously, remember very specifically that Zero was the first thing we watched, and I'm new to Macross. So,
but they really talked. They talk heavily on it. Like, no, this is protoculture.
Protoculture was just a fucking word when we were watching Zero. It didn't mean anything yet.
No,
now that we know it was a whole
point.
race. They didn't know what protoculture was when they were using the word protoculture.
They were talking about being a culture that came in from outer space and altered.
Yes, they also said that humans evolved from fucking fish and birds. You want me to take everything as literal?
That's a myth around it, but the whole aspect was that the old man scientist was like, "Oh, behind the myth and legends, this is the reality, right?" And they're gonna come back and remake the world and all that. And it's like, "Oh no, they're just gonna kill everybody." Oh shit!
Oh, so you're saying the scientist said something else that was also not true?
Well, he made a mistake, right?
Oh, yeah. So, I'm just saying, people are fallible. And also, once again, was the first Macross show, so putting that into context.
The idea of the protoculture starts there. So even if you watch it chronologically, that's kind of like the center of all the discussions in Macross Zero. Where does it come from? What's the connection with humanity?
Well, there's also the element that Birdman doesn't look like anything.
I mean, ironically, it kind of looks like the kind of construction No, it looks more like the temple.
It looks like the evil.
Which evil?
Do you not remember the evil? The evil was something the protoculture created.
Yeah, the kaiju of Macross 7?
Yeah, the 7 evil. Also, technically, I don't think we ever accounted for all 7 of the evils, so...
Yeah.
Well, it's either that or we accounted for too many, so I can't remember which way that went.
Either way, it's still protoculture. They didn't know about the evil then. They knew about protoculture. It's like, oh, this looks like protoculture.
Sorry, no, I'm just forgetting why we're discussing this now.
Because you said that you made a note that said, oh, they just casually discovering these ruins. And it's like, oh, it's not important anymore. I'm like, I don't remember them just
I didn't say it wasn't important anymore. I was saying that sorry, I haven't deleted the note yet.
Read the note again.
Episode 8's intro narration had some implications that either don't align with info that we've seen or implies a large amount of background activity that is just being shown to us. First thing we are seeing are drones exploring ruins of dead protoculture ruins and possibly even corpses, which you are now saying that's Macross Zero.
Yeah, that's the Birdman. That's literally the scene where they discover the Birdman. And they bring it about the carrier.
Which we watched months ago, so I don't feel like I'm losing points for not remembering what, 3, 4 series ago?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but the thing is that, and I get the fact that you might have forgot. That's perfectly fine. But the whole point was that you were saying it was something completely new, and I'm saying no. Literally, it's kind of the beginning of the whole story.
Well, it's
Sort
the
of.
problem of the obvious thing of Macross F is only separated by Macross Zero by 6 years in reality, whereas obviously for me, it's separated by a number of shows with plot lines that don't involve the protoculture. So for them to show it here in this, obviously in the real world, you may have just watched Macross Zero a couple of years ago and it's still fresh in your brain. So the connection is obvious. Also, we're talking about protoculture. Macross 7, not that many years ago, had them as a feature point in their whole backstory world building thing. But I feel like from the point of Birdman, where the entire Macross series is a fucking mystery and I don't know what's laying out ahead of me, to 2 shows that don't have anything to do with protoculture.
I mean, Macross Plus doesn't really have anything to do with the protoculture, and
XDF Macross didn't have anything to do with protoculture.
they mention it, but as an explanation of where.
Well, they talk about protoculture as the people that created us and we killed them. But I mean, it's not like mystery. You know, there's no mystery behind the protoculture. Golg is literally they made us, then we killed them. You know, it's very cut and dry.
Yeah. Then more to it to the protoculture, I guess.
But yeah, no, I mean, like the difference between Birdman and the guy at Lux. Guy at Lux just looks like a human shape.
Sort of. Could have been a hologram. It could have been an actual guy that had been preserved. Like,
well, I mean, you have that question in your head. In my head, he's just a guy who's been frozen in time. I don't see any indication that he's a hologram, especially because he gets fucking shot. So,
well, the ruins get blown up. I don't know if he personally gets shot.
Yeah. I guess my thought process is he's the Star Trek TNG, the planet where the Ferengi first show up, the outpost of the ancient civilization, because it's essentially like literally the same fucking plot line.
Yeah.
You know, he comes back for that one Star Trek game that's like a Telltale game.
The thing it's like an oil that kills Tasha, Jan? That's the one you're talking about?
No. Ferengi don't show up in that episode. I thought you liked Star. You didn't watch TNG. You said this before, I think.
No, because the first episode that Ferengi show up, they show up with the electro whip. They never show them again.
No, this is the old guy with the staff. He's like the last outpost of the huge civilization, and then they make the Telltale Star Trek kind of game, and it's about those people found another outpost sort of thing and start waking up that technology. Anyway,
that's season
that's
1.
That's the same feeling that I get from this guy at the planet Lux, is that he's just like last outpost kind of guy. So he's like giving the exposition and then gets fucking murked in the middle of it.
Yeah. What the answer is, boom.
But yeah, no. Well, again, to the second half, the idea that humanity was created, for one thing, doesn't mesh with that info, and that we were made to inherit their peace or culture, and the planet Luxdor was looking for the child of peace, implies to me that any human blood would have opened that. Gamlin could have gotten shot, and the door would have opened.
Or stabbed in that case. Because Mylene got getting shot.
That's a technicality. Do you think a blown dart is getting stabbed or shot?
I think there were spines that came out of
they get shot from the walls. The spines like shoot from the walls. That's what I'm saying. Is a blow dart getting stabbed or shot? Because it's basically the same thing. If a thing of rebar falls off the tall building and impales you, did you get stabbed? Well, I guess technically that's not shot either. That's just impaled. Same idea, though.
Yeah. That's one hell way to go. But yeah.
Well, again, my thing about the protoculture is there was, back when we were watching it, maybe not in your mind, but obviously in mind, what is Birdman? and protoculture was a word that got thrown around, but we've also been introduced to a wide range of things. I lost my button. A wide range of things that Birdman could be. I mean, Birdman could be Proto-Devlin.
Doesn't fit because the Proto-Devlin wanted to eat everybody.
Well,
consume the
technically,
anima.
it did eat two
And
people.
Well, he used one as a control device, and the other one talked him out of destroying the world. So,
well, it opened itself up and put meat inside. That's how my mouth works.
Yeah, I don't think it was a mouth that it opened up. Anyway, what was I going to say? No, but the whole thing was...
It also seems to travel dimensions, which, Proto-Devlin do.
Yeah, I don't think it's... I think he just jumped away. He just folded away. That's all it did.
But in time and space, it's fucking a TARDIS, this thing. Except that it's not bigger on the inside.
I think you're putting too much emphasis on those words. I'm literally
saying the words that they said, as you just did when you described what the scientists tell us. Just telling you what he said. Now, I don't know about you, but typically I don't include in time if I just mean, like, the natural progression of time.
I mean, if the... I mentioned this before that it has to be both time and space, otherwise it wouldn't be instantaneous travel, because otherwise you have time dilation.
Again, there's the understanding of what words mean, and you don't have to imply things that don't need to be implied. If I'm like telling you how fold works, right, and I say, oh, I can move from here to there super quickly through this device, you're going to understand that time is probably going to move in a normal manner. Right, we're all gonna be on the same time frame here.
But I don't think he time traveled. I mean, that's not an implication.
That is an implication by the mythos. The mythology of these people implies that he time traveled.
No, he just arrived earlier in time. He just when they came. It's like if I were to travel in the 1980s and I would travel today, just because I said I arrived somewhere. I was like 5-year-old in the 1980s. Doesn't mean I travel back into the 1980s.
I want you from now on, whenever you're going anywhere, to tell people that you'll be there, both in time and location, just so they will you'll get these weird looks.
In the US, they do it all the time. It's like, it takes me 5 minutes to get here. I am both traveling in time and in space.
Yeah, but nobody fucking says that. He's saying it for no reason. The implication, look, as I go back and watch, not you, audience, go back and watch the Macross Zero reactions that we've done, and because I'm never going to restate my my theories from back then as well as I probably did back then. The combination of the mythology of the people of the island with the technology, or whatever it is, of Birdman, the concept that they time traveled back and created themselves, that this is a paradoxical loop.
That was your theory.
Yeah.
But that's one interpretation of what happened. They just arrived, messed with the people, and then stayed there until they got reactivated, and then they effed off. That's a simple explanation.
Okay, but this is an anime narrative. You can't take an Occam's razor to an anime narrative.
Well, I can, unless the anime tells me clearly otherwise. And
sure, you can, but it's an anime narrative. This isn't what logically would be the easiest thing. Sherlock Holmes would have his head explode in an anime because the easiest thing is with the least amount of effort is probably going to be the right answer. Oh, except for, in fact, it turns out that you have a phone from the future that's telling you everything that happens, and then you can also time travel, and you're obsessed with your own brother, and, it's just like, it's fucking anime. Anything's on the table. Also, there's also the facet of anything we haven't written yet is possible. It's the Superman's power spectrum of writing, right? Anything Superman hasn't done yet, he could probably do. Anything that hasn't happened yet could happen.
Yeah, but if it hasn't happened, then it's just mere speculation. So it's a good theory.
Well, here's the thing, though. We're also not the writers of Macross, so literally everything we say is speculation.
Well, then I would wait for them to show me proof of that. If they show me proof, then I'm good to go.
Sure. But at the same time, I make theories. So
Okay, sure.
I'm not
saying
sitting
that
in
you're-
silence
I'm not
watching the
saying-
show. I'm making theories,
I'm
trying
not-
to guess what's happening.
I'm not saying that your theory is not possible. I think that you're stating it as a given. That's the issue I have.
Yeah, because in my head it is a given because I'm a watcher of the show. I'm not saying, God damn it. I'm not saying, like, God damn it, Lessons, get on me with this one. I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever your opinion is your opinion too. Obviously, I have had these moments where I've said, no, I think you're wrong, but I'm not going to, like, stop thinking that, Lessons.
Oh, well. I'm saying that it's simpler than that. It's a cool theory. And if they do use it, that would be interesting.
Well, we're never going back to zero, except for obviously the next episode. But we're never going back there. And it's like,
I mean,
if
but
they
like
did
you said,
if they did a one-shot OVA explaining what happens to Shin and Sarah after they leave, I'm all about it. I'll fucking watch that, even if it's like, oh yeah, no, they just flew out into space and then slowly died of asphyxiation because Birdman didn't have anywhere to go. Like, I'll be like, oh well, cool, fine. You know, final love story between two characters as they die of one, I guess, radiation overdose. Because Sarah kind of like absorbed a bunch of nuclear explosions, and then Shin, who I think was dying too.
Was he?
Well, the implication was either he was already dead or was dying. Because remember, he crashes into the ocean, and then she lifts him up, and he's like kind of ghost forming his way with her.
Oh, yeah. That was kind of weird.
Yeah, so the implication is either dead already and whatever, or, I mean, the fact that Macross hasn't pulled ghosts before, I guess implies that maybe he's dying, not dead. But, yeah, again, the whole mythos thing. But if they did an OVA and they show us what happened, cool, I'd be there. I'm really still engaged with their story to the point where I'm defending a myth as possible. Look, the idea of all of this backstory shit that we talk about all the time being based on, like, legends and whatnot.
Cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, I feel like this was more of a thing for me back when we were watching Zero than obviously it is now, because now we don't deal with myth as much because we don't have, like, ancient origin stories because there's nobody here to tell it, right? We go to Lux and we raise a temple out of a volcano, and it's just like, it's just a thing that we did. We don't really need to explain why a proto-Devlin some reason went to the middle of the ocean, raised a volcano, and underneath the volcano was a proto-culture temple with a dude inside who was just like, hey, cool, good to be on the surface again. You know?
Yeah. I was just waiting for you guys. It took you a while for you to do this. Yeah.
Yeah, so
you had to go to this one planet to get into this volcano. Yeah, the coincidences. Like, yeah, the writer's like, we need to do something protoculture. Oh, yeah, protoculture. There you go.
Well, it's more so that our new mythos is the protoculture itself. Like, here's what they did. Here's what the things that they did then did. It isn't related to us anymore. Versus the island mythos, which is mysterious lights in the sky. Obviously that's not the thing, but we came from the creature that came down and had a child with one of us that was like a fish or a bird. I can't remember which one was given. Probably the alien was bird, and we were fish. But that's like human related mythos, which is cooler because I can work with that versus, hey, space aliens have a mythos about other space aliens, and it's like, I don't have a basis for that. Where's my grounding in that? So, obviously I have less to work with there. I just feel like the protoculture thing, in regards to Birdman, is more nebulous.
That is. That's why That's why I like Zero, but I found out like this is kind of. Because I when it ended, I felt like okay, that was a thing that happened. Like I left it with more questions than answered, and so I was like, to this day, I'm a little bit iffy about it. I do know more now, but still, it kind of feels like, well,
I
gosh.
also don't
But
feel like this show is going to change any of my opinions about Zero, except for, of course, the possibility of this episode. But
I think, I mean, it could be referenced in the future. It doesn't have to be the same characters. It could be another Birdman or where Birdman came from or whatever, right? Like, oh, we sent. It could be like what's his name? Stargate Destiny. Destiny was the last show from the Stargate series that they have a ship that goes around and drops. Basically,
I don't remember the names. I know what you're talking about. I don't remember the names of shows. Apparently, there's a new Stargate show that's coming out soon.
Yeah. So stuff like that. It could be like, oh, this is Project Birdman, basically, and we send a bunch of this stuff to go around the galaxy to find, species that we could uplift or something. Oh, and you came out of that. Oh, cool. Okay, let's go. One of you showed up in my volcano temple thing. Good that it happened after 500,000 years. Okay.
After 500,000 years, he's free. Time
And they
to
got
conquer Earth. Oh, wait. Nope. Too late. They already blew it up.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, I got my theory, and the show hasn't changed anything. The show hasn't done anything to change my theory about this self-fulfilling prophecy, other than the fact of where did Birdman come from. And the fact that it's a ship that you can get in and pilot with music.
I mean, everything here is with music, I suppose.
Right. I just mean, just forming the thought slowly is all. Again, nothing else is like that so far.
Except for the whole of Macross 7, we have super cannon music that can blow up a giant.
Oh, no. I meant the whole, like, biological thing that's also a ship.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it kind of bled. So it was kind of biomechanical. Well, we have these creatures.
It was, like, literally alive. Like, the head, like, crawls towards the body. It's like...
Yeah. Well, we do have these creatures now that are also biomechanical.
So you're saying Birdman is a Vajra?
I'm not saying. I'm saying that now we're seeing it back again.
Right. No, I'm just saying that the whole argument before was that Birdman was a protoculture, and now Birdman's a Vajra.
That's not what I said. I said that we're seeing this sort of stuff again.
Next thing you tell me that Birdman is a space whale.
I mean, that's also biological and can jump and have built-in fold.
None of these things have cockpits, though, is my point.
True. And the least I want to know about the space whales, the better.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway.
So the people that fought the Vajra the first couple of episodes had to get tested and blood tests done. The Dolphin crew are in quarantine and get medical inspections. There's definitely something about the Vajra that is either infectious or transformative when in contact with people. I wonder if Ranka ever got tested or if Ozma got around her having to be tested. By the way, I was paused writing this note, restarted the video, and immediately Leon mentions type V infection. So there you go, I guess. I was wondering about Ranka due to the crotch glowing thing. Sorry, I think that goes to show you that it's not a joke. It's more.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, just because I missed it doesn't mean that it's not real. I'm not questioning.
While Catherine is talking to Leon, there is a readout that we can see she's looking at. Some minor stuff about Skull Squadron, like Ozma is a major and Michael is a second lieutenant. Alto's readout is partially covered by her hand, but it confirms that Ronzo is his father, which is obvious. Also mentions that he was in the drama department, but transferred. Mm-hmm. Leon also doesn't know who the mysterious new pilot is, but is suppressing video of his activity at the last battle.
He wants to keep control of the information. He doesn't know. He doesn't want anyone else to know.
I wonder if that little green thing is a baby Vajra. It followed Ranka around all day. It's either just a new pet or it's a tiny Vajra doing what all the Vajra have done so far. Follow Ranka is what I meant.
Oh, okay. Like,
Well, the
it was
music thing,
funny.
right?
Yeah.
Ranka keeps singing. They follow her songs.
Hmm.
So I don't know how it would have gotten on board, but then again, we've had a couple of Vajra like crash on board the ship before, so
We did see a shot of a ship that Devarja were
we didn't
using for
see.
S.
We saw inside the egg, and it's just glowing red things, and the
Yeah.
little creature has like a glowing red gem on its head, but that's not enough connective tissue to say 100% certainty. But these are
But
one
we
for
do.
one. Also, we had Guvava as a pet
Mhm.
companion before, so
Yeah.
it's not
So
outside the bounds of possibility that, oh, another
mm,
cute pet companion. Because literally another person says, hey, what planet does that come from?
one of the alien dinosaurs.
So, despite the human recycling centers and the fast seas of water that we see in nearly every panning shot, the Frontier Fleet is low on water, according to recent meeting with President Glass. He refers to it as poverty. Two other things of note from that meeting. The suited individuals all have a screen in front of them with the headline Unidentified Invader, despite quite clearly identifying them as Vajra. More importantly, Grace is hacking the meeting and grinning about it. There are a number of things at play which could make that go any number of ways, from the facet of the tech that she uses being illegal on Frontier, to Galaxy being given its own descriptive opening and left as a mystery towards what innovations it's made on its own and to what end.
Well, it's pointed out that Galaxy was basically a private endeavor. You know, corporations and all that were the ones who paid for it, which means that probably other fleets are more public funding, right? UN
I don't
Spacey
remember them saying that it was a corporate endeavor, just that a lot of money and innovation for technological supremacy of the whole damn thing
yeah.
was pumped in. Also, I guess the fact that we know it is a different operating system than the other ones, in that it's chemical instead of, I cannot remember what they called Frontier,
Biostasis or something like that, I
something
think.
like that. In that it smells different. The chemical plants make it smell different. But also the implication is that they started as high tech and they've been
Mhm.
innovating their technology as they went. So we don't know what changes that they've made since they've launched.
True.
An odd line from last episode. Alto says that Michael brags about inheriting his accuracy from his elder sister, implying that he talks about her all the time. Something about that makes it hard for me to understand how he'd get so easily thrown by Grace mentioning her. It'd be different in my eyes if he never mentioned her and she was someone he was actively suppressing from his memory, then suddenly got brought up and reminded him. Instead, he's talking about her all the time. I want to remind you now that I've mentioned before that these are 2 a.m. notes, because my
Okay.
sentence here says, instead, he's. Oh, no, sorry, I read it wrong. I thought I had written he's talking about her all the time and even talking about her, and I'm like, what the fuck? I wrote down, instead, he's thinking about her all the time and even talking about her. Oh, thank God. It's current me that's stupid, not old me.
But I think, at least from Alto, I think it makes him angry because it seems to be more like a mocking tone, like, oh, hey, you think you're the person that taught you how to shoot, and you're shooting so badly, you're making all this, boasting, right? And he's
Well,
like,
no, again,
fuck
it's the
you.
concept that Michael misses the shot and accidentally almost shoots
Yeah.
almost shoots Alto because he's
Hmm.
thrown by what Grace says earlier. But what Alto was saying is that you're constantly talking about your sister and what a great shot she is and how you're aspiring to be that. So you're always talking about your sister and thinking about her. So why are you so shook when somebody brings her up as though you didn't already know or think about this all the time? So the difference in play here is if Alto never said that, we
Mm.
would think that he's just like never brought it up before. And if he's never
Yeah.
brought it up before, it's not a large jump to think that maybe he's like suppressing the thought of his sister that he idolized who committed suicide. In which case,
Yeah.
somebody bringing it up out of the blue, that'd be a fucking thing. But if you told me all the time that your sister committed suicide, or that your sister was this big thing, and that I know tangentially that she killed herself because obviously she's not around anymore. Also, she's buried literally on this ship, so I know that she's dead. Sometimes I see you there before school at her grave, which is something that's happened in the show. So it's not that big of a thing. Like, it's not like Grace said, "Oh yeah, fuck your sister, by the way. I hate everyone that commits suicide." It's not like I can be seeing it shook about that, but
it could be the timing of when it was said, but because he was aiming, and then Grace says something.
No. They're meeting outside the school. I think this is like the limo shot. No,
Yeah.
actually, no. They're sorry. They're doing a photo shoot, and Grace and Michael are just off to the side, and Michael is hitting on Grace, and Grace like puts together who he is, and she says, "Oh, you're her," and then trails off, and then immediately goes, because obviously she's like half distance looking, so she's looking at her the shit only she can see. And she goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry about your sister." And then later in the episode, Michael's doing the shots and is still thinking about that conversation.
I think from Grace, if it had been from Alto, I think it would have been. In fact, that's what Alto is doing. He's calling him out on it, right? But the fact that he may be talking about her a lot, but Grace is a stranger, right? And the fact that she just pulls that card, like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I know that your sister's dead." Blah 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 blah. He's like, "What the? How do you know that?" Right? Why does it have a lasting effect until he's gonna take the shot?
Well, that's what I'm
Maybe
saying. Is I feel like
the stressful situation would have brought it up, but still,
I think it would have been a better narrative if they hadn't included Alto bringing up that he talks about her.
True.
Because it would have been more of a reason for him to be shook. In that, like, maybe it's private information. We know that Grace hacks. So maybe she, like, immediately hacked Michael's whole fucking record and be like, "Who's this guy talking to me?" You know, that whole thing.
Yeah.
And then brings up this information, which would maybe seem to be public, but then nobody looks up, and suddenly, or
maybe okay, maybe what Alta knows that he brags about her sister, but never mentions the suicide. Right?
Again, she's buried on the ship, so implies that she was on the ship.
Yeah, but Alto probably doesn't know. I mean, okay, you mentioned you said I have a sister, right? But if I never mention, oh, by the way, I'm going to visit my sister in the cemetery. It's like, why would you visit your sister in the cemetery?
The difference between this example, it would be that also I live nearby you, see you every day, and sometimes you stop by the cemetery before school, and I also have seen you there.
But it's only at the end of the episode that he visits the cemetery, and some people.
He also has a memory sequence of being in the cemetery.
Yeah, by himself.
Oh, actually, with his sister, because I'm assuming that's Arlington. But the thing is that the modern cemetery on board Frontier also fucking looks like Arlington, so it's a hard call. For all we know, his parents are in the same cemetery. But that's my pull though, is these guys hang around him all the time, and it feels like knowledge that they would have, if not for a glancing look at what's the grave that he's at, something like that. I just think it would have been a better narrative if he hadn't said that, and it was just that this guy shook on something he was trying to bury within himself, rather than the idea that he thinks about his sister all the time. I don't know how you could think about somebody in your life like that without all aspects of them. Obviously, I'm a person of regret, so obviously I would think about my regrets so it would be like last conversations with. So I wouldn't be able to go past the fact that she killed herself, because I'd be thinking about the last thing that we said together. And I would be unable to know the last thing I said to her without thinking about why it was the last thing I said to her.
I mean, I remember my dad. Sometimes I remember the last thing I said to my dad. Sometimes I remember some joke that he told, or So it doesn't always, I mean, for me, this is just me speaking for myself, of course, it doesn't always come down to the, the most tragic aspect of the fact that he passed away recently. So, like, it's still in my mind, but it's like, I mean, I don't think I would be, I'm also an adult that is supposed to be a teenager as well. I don't think I would be shaken
You've got a lot more.
if,
We've got a lot more memories to place
yeah,
between ourselves and other things. A lot more regrets too. But
yeah.
yeah, they're teenagers. We don't know how long ago this was.
Mhm.
Like, we know
Doesn't
how
seem to be
old
too
she was
long.
when they were at the grave of their parents, but we also seen them
Yeah,
like running along, having fun on the streets in a memory sequence where they
yeah.
seem to be relatively to the age that they are now. So
Mhm.
this could have been like a year ago for all we know.
Probably. Um, but I think I don't think I would have been shaken as badly as he was, or for that long. But if like I'm just walking to somebody, it's like, oh hey, you're so and so's son. I'm so sorry about that. I'm like, who the fuck are you? You know,
I mean,
like,
I kind of still get that sometimes, in that I'm at the hospital a lot because of my shit.
yeah,
And my
yeah,
grandpa was a nurse. They literally called him "Love My Job Bob" because
hmm,
he loved being a nurse at the hospital, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
every so often, somebody like, you know, you were you Bob?
yeah,
So I still hear about
yeah,
that kind of shit all the time,
yeah.
just out of the blue. It's just a thing. So
Or if I mean, I'm hitting on a girl in a bar or something, and they turn around like, "Oh, hey, I knew your dad." Blah 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 blah.
I'm
It's
your
like,
cousin. This is weird.
yeah, that, yeah. The less is said about that, the better. Uh, anyway, yeah. So yeah, it's not as clear as it should be. I think they were going for the, oh look, Michael has a tragic past. Let's bond with the character of Michael, which kind of works,
I'm
but
saying
it
I
could
don't have a
like
problem with the let's give Michael a backstory and make it tragic element. I just think narratively it could have been done better because
cleaner. Yeah.
it feels so weird. Also, the way they do it, like,
Mhm.
he's fine, he's fine, he's fine, he's fine, he's aiming. Oh, weird backstory flashback. It's not, I don't know how you operate, but I don't just suddenly get weird flashbacks and shit. That shit's rattling around in my mind all day, and that'll fuck me up for everything that I'm doing. Not just the sudden one time I'm pulling the trigger.
Well, I mean, it is a traumatic. I mean, this is a situation which is pretty traumatic for him. So yeah, you can have situations where you have a traumatic flashback, like, oh, like, okay, yeah, my sister, whatever, and then you think you're fine with it, and then because I think the trigger is literally, and it's a word that gets thrown around a lot, so is that he is in a very tense moment, right? He has to take this difficult shot. It's life and death. Boom. Oh, this is what happens when you met. Because the thing is that her story is his, that she was accused. She was not found guilty of it, but of negligence, whether
I
or
don't
not
know if she was
she
found guilty or
shot.
not, actually. I
Well, she
assumed
got
that
it
she was found guilty, but it doesn't
of
actually say in the episode if she was or not.
that she took a shot that killed her commanding officer slash lover, right?
Yeah, who broke up with
Uh,
her literally right before the mission. And then
yeah.
she got
So,
court-martialed for it. And again, they don't
mhm,
imply one way or the other. I would assume that when she killed herself, it's because she was found guilty. But obviously, the thing is that Michael doesn't think she was guilty and is looking for clues about why she
mhm,
may have either done it or killed herself because of it. I mean,
yeah,
you could also pull that maybe she was found not guilty but killed herself due to like the dishonor
the
or social stigma based around it. Because like, my thought goes to, you remember that astronaut lady who traveled
mhm,
the country in diapers because she was trying to find her ex-boyfriend?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. No matter what rationale that woman had in her mind, could have been a completely logical thought process.
mhm,
To the end of her days, she's going to be remembered as astronaut diaper lady,
yeah,
right? So at the end of the day, this woman is going to be known as the woman who shot her boyfriend in the back during a military thing. So it's just going to live with her, and maybe she realized that sort of thing and decided that, I got nothing left anymore, or this is going to haunt me worse than seeing my little brother grow up. It's like,
Yeah.
So either was a not guilty and it just going to haunt her to the point where she killed herself, or she was found guilty and it's like, I can't live with this.
Either way, I think it's a combination of just being surprised by what she said, and then being put in a situation very similar to it, where he could make a mistake, right? Right, and therefore it's like, oh God, and just it's a PTSD moment basically, because PTSD doesn't have to be a war; it can be any traumatic situation. Probably fine. We don't get the shot that he found her, right? Because we just see the panning out the gun, that she shot herself. We don't even see the wound or anything like that. Sort of like we see from here to here and all the blood going down and the hand,
No, we see her face.
empty. Yeah. Anyway, we don't know if that's Michael remembering how he found her, right?
I don't think it was, because we also have a memory of the court martial from a position that it seems unlikely that
Yeah.
a childhood
He was
Michael
here.
would have been in.
And yeah. A civilian wouldn't have been included in that, especially family member. It's not like a
It's
public
also a
court.
real bitch move to have shot yourself in the head in a position that your little brother is going to find you in. I mean, to imply that the memories may have been Michael's. To just like,
yeah,
I'm going to shoot myself here, where a person walking in the door is going to see me.
I mean, if you shoot yourself in the house, in your own house, eventually somebody's going to find you, right?
I feel like you've got options. If you can legally buy a gun, you've got options of where you're going to shoot yourself at. Like, don't make your family members be the first person.
It
Leave a note on the door, I guess. I don't know.
Does they find you by the smell? Ugh.
Well, no, I mean, like, leave a note on the door, like, call 911, don't enter this room. Something.
I mean, that would I would do it. Just try to barge in the door and break it. It's like, what do you mean call 911? No.
Well, that's your fault then. I'm just saying, maybe it's not the best note on the door. I mean, maybe go to like a public bathroom. Do it. I don't know.
Jesus Christ.
They get a good fun surprise for somebody. I don't know. Dress up, dress up in a clown costume with red makeup and just go boom. I don't know.
That's so horrible. Oh, that's bad. That's horrible.
I don't know, man. I don't know how you do it for real.
I don't think there's any way you can disguise that. No, that's not gonna happen. Yeah.
I'm not saying disguise it. It's like, maybe if you really hate somebody, do it in their bathroom.
Oh.
Look, I'm just saying, push the traumatic shit away from the family members and the ones that you care about. If you're gonna do it some, I don't know. Maybe leave a note. I think we should leave this topic because I feel like I'm now starting to describe how to commit suicide to people, and it's probably not a great YouTube clip.
Yeah, no.
All right,
don't try this at home, kids.
Well, so literally the whole thought process here I was giving out was don't do it at home.
Yeah.
Anyway, last thought I have here. Elmo says that whenever he tries to start a website to promote Ranka, it gets hacked immediately. Two culprits come to mind instantly. Leon, for his investigation, though it does not seem likely, as investigation doesn't typically mean interference. Grace is the other one, who is actively hacking shit all the time and represents Cheryl, who, while friendly with Ranka, is still technically her competition. So Grace might be shutting that shit down alongside all other competition.
I think more likely than not it's Grace.
Well, yeah, that's why I brought up Leon, just to shoot Leon down. Like, the first thing the investigator does when he's investigating you isn't fuck up your life. That'd be a weird... I put her at her lowest so I can see what she does. She's cheating on you. That might be, though, because I ruined her life. Don't go to the bathroom. Clown makeup everywhere. Sorry, I painted a good mental image in my head and it's too funny.
X-ray on the bathroom, yeah.
Don't go in there. All right. Any final thoughts?
No, just looking forward to the episode.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and hop on into it.
But before we get started,
Make sure that you hit the like button.
Hit that subscribe button.
Comment down below to feed that algorithm.
on top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this,
Unfiltered.
Uncensored.
And uncut.
as well as some early access stuff,
You can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
Oh, someone's getting a boyfriend.
私は風の導き手。ざわつく風が聖なる巡りを遮った。だから私には分かった。血塗られた戦人が目覚めると風が濁る。マヤンの風が濁り、カドゥンが草の裏にすくうようになる。目が覚めたのなら早く島から立ち去る。
くだらない。俺と一緒にもう
That's
一
what she
人いたはずだ。
これは
触るな。もう一人はどこだ。どこにいる。
あんた一人だったよ。
何。
流れ着いたのは一人だ
What do you mean, Franklin? Looking for Franklin? So yeah, that's the image that I saw before back when we were watching Zero, when I was looking for screenshots to use for the thumbnails. I do not like her as Sarah. Rankin makes a passable Mao, though.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that was Alto?
We have to see.
If it is Alto, he makes a alright Shin. I think Shin, whoever's playing Shin is obviously better.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, of like comparisons, like
Yeah.
Sarah, Mao, Shin. Shin is the
Mhm.
best one represented because I think he looks kind of like Shin to my memory.
Yeah.
Ranka makes a passable Mao, but Cheryl as Sarah? No, not even close.
I mean, Cheryl is a Nome.
Doesn't mean anything. It's like
What do you mean doesn't
drawing
mean
your.
anything?
I'd be like if I drew what I thought that your grandpa looked like, and I just drew you, because obviously you're the same family, right? You all look the same.
Well, one of my grandparents has green eyes, and I don't have green eyes, so.
Oh, is that the only difference? Is it a Char situation with you two?
No,
He could
no,
literally
I mean, he
kill
was
you
short.
and take your place one day.
No, he was also shorter than me, so.
He's gonna have to wear glasses, just different color glasses.
No.
ではこの鳥の人は新工藤氏の伝記をもとに映画化したわけですね。
はい。シェリルさんのイメージソン
But
グ
who wrote Ice Franklin could have
ク
written
ラ
it?
ンクインが待ち遠しいです。
魅力的な皿を期待していま
They
す。
said biography, not
マクロ
autobiography.
スのミランダ・メリンさんでした。
なんか悔しいですね。こっちは手渡しのプロモーションしかできないのに。
でもね、エルモさんが言ってたの。歌ってそもそも人から人へ口伝えに広められるものなんだって。なんか素敵じゃない？
Like a generational game of
き
telephone.
っといますよ。あのディスクを見てランカさんのこと好きになってくれる人が。
ランカちゃん。ニュースですよ。ビッグニュースです。
I hate that this will happen to my guy's
監
family.
督さんがね、私のディスクを見て気に入ってくれたんだって。
よかったじゃないか。
でも
Bird
私
human.
今までお芝居なん
That's what
て
it's
したこと
called.
ないし、本当にうまくできるか心配で。
まあ無理だろうな。
ああ、やっぱり意地悪だよ、ハルトくん。こういう時は嘘でもできるって言おうよ。
思わざれば花なり、思えば花ならざりき。頭で演じようとすれば必ずどこかに嘘が残る。考えずただひたすらに感じてその役になりきれってことさ。
すごいや、ハルトくん。お芝居のこともわかるんだ。
まあな。どっちにしろセリフもない。
I'm literally trying not to.
それはそうだけど。
分かってる。すぐ行く。悪い。 軍から広報の仕事が回ってきたんだ。じゃあな。
Right, her recruitment campaign.
言葉なんて。
That literally Alto said last episode he thought was dumb.
Yeah, well, but he has no choice, I guess.
シェリルさんって
Technically, no. Sorry, the emergency situation is still on board, which means that they all work for the president now.
一緒にいるんだ。
Unless they dropped it without telling us.
反応速度から見ても無人機ではありえないとのことでした。ただ X ギアシステムを使ってもあの出力と運動性には生身の人間は耐えられないだろうとも。面白いね。
Pretty sure the entire concept of the ghost system was that it reacted faster than people did. Well, they were saying that. So it is a Vajra. Or a Griffin. Also, I think that's Mount Justice from Young Justice.
うわーすごい。島が丸ごとセットになってる。
ようこそマヤン島へ。
どうして
SMS が撮影に協力してるのよ。ほら、
I realize he's not wearing a shirt. He just wears a jacket.
Yeah, no, he's always been like this, even on the bridge.
Yeah, I know. It's like, well,
いろいろまずいらしくてね。
He's also really good at makeup if you missed that one too.
yeah, I know that one.
Well, he just said it while I was saying it. I did. Last episode, there was a whole conversation between him and Mo about it. Oh, right, that's not Cheryl. That's the actress lady that you were arguing with me is related or not related to Jamis Marin.
Yeah.
I say she is.
サラが歌う風の歌はこの作品の要です。そちらがねじ込んだシェリルの歌を主題歌にするんですから、風の歌に関しては妥協しませんよ。
あら、あなたミスマクロスの出るの役は
マヤンの娘 A です。
まあ素敵。私の笑顔台無しにしないようせいぜい頑張ってちょうだい。聞き捨てならない。
He died.
妥協で私の歌が使われるの
I want to take a shit on your beach now. What do you think about that?
アルト君
妥協だなんてめっそうもない。
冗談よ。この映画のために書き下ろした曲じゃないんだからハマらないのは当然よね。監督さん、なんだったらそのサラの曲。
Yeah, she's not gonna wear anything skimpy for this, I suppose.
I mean, it's a beach.
少し考えさせてくださいとのことです。
必要ならいつでも言ってください。いい作品を作りましょう。セリルさん。
I mean, she's worn less in concert.
私主演の
True.
ちゃんと登ってきてるのね。
はい。
ほら、
Well, it's technically not, but also true. In that she's wearing a full body outfit
どうして
that then just displayed a naked body on top of. It's weird.
こいつのドキュメンタリーも SMS が全面協力とかで。
失礼ですけど、あなた早乙女アルトさんでは？
ああ。
映画に出てくださいませんか？
え？
見ましたよ、あなたの舞台、桜姫東文章の桜姫。
桜姫？
本当にこれアルト君なの
3年前の公演です。
Well, that's going to be a scene that I pause on later to figure out. Because it's clearly text there that I could read if I zoomed in on it.
未だ多くのファンを持つそうよ。もったいない。それがどうして戦闘機パイロットに？
I'm still sure she's an alien or a cyborg.
彼にも。
お願いします。あなたが出てくれればランカちゃんの出番を増やしてくれるそうなんです。
So all I can do is not draw a line from old doctor back on SDF Macross to her.
俺はもう芝居をやめたんだ。しかも女装なんて。
逃げんのか？
違う。
ランカちゃんのためだぜ。
それにその方がお前も楽になるんじゃないのか？
いろいろと。
分かったような口を聞くな。
驚いた。アルト君が歌舞伎のうちの跡取りだったなんて。
そう？私は知ってたけど。触れられたくない
How did you
みた
not
いだから
know?
突っ込むのをやめてたけど。有名人よ。蘭蔵早乙
I
女。
say there's posters of Ranzo Satome all over the Macross frontier.
But I guess you could have more than one Satome. I mean, Saotomi.
Yeah, but even then, you'd ask, hey, are you related to that guy? In which case, he'd get super upset, walk away, and he'd be like, oh, yeah, he must be that.
シーン47で問題が。主役の彼、水中撮影は契約に入ってないからやらないって。
何で、監督は
さっき釣り竿を持ってうろうろしてましたけど。
魔王役のゆうちゃんも遅れてるし、この撮影呪われてるのか？
カドンの呪いっすかね。
バカ言ってないで、監督探してこい。
はい。おい。
I'm sure the curse of the Kadun was violence.
急いでください。もう撮影が。
I guess the fact that it's turning into a giant bird thing is what's making me think it's not a Vajra.
I mean, we've seen stuff like that before. We saw it in the mall. The Centrati were playing with it.
Yeah, but that was blue.
This is purple?
Green.
No, this is not green.
No, if it's the small green creature that I'm talking about, it's green. Also, we're only seeing it as shadow, so I don't know where you're pulling color from. No, that one's blue. So maybe it's not the creature then. In which case, it's all pointless conversation. I mean, unless it goes from green to blue when it grows up.
約束通り監視はつけてませんよ。
これが問題のバルキリーとバジュラに関して我々が知るデータだ。
引き換えにこちらは何を？
So, that technology that we used, we rub phones together. And
I mean, they used it
earring
before.
fragment.
Yeah. They did this when they sent, through the air. Like,
No, I'm just saying, that modern thing where you can just like pass phones over each other and transmit data. They've made it visual for some reason, so everyone can see you do it. Take a screenshot of that, put it into a Yu-Gi-Oh episode, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Yeah.
これが最新の VF25。撮影後 CG で VF0 に加工されちゃうんだけどね。
おいルカ、ランカー見なかったか？
ランカさんなら岬の方に。
わかった。
で、結局女装するの？
断った。
なんだ残念。せっかく伝説
I
の
kind of believe it more if they spray painted the VF25 like blue or green, like a stand-in for the movie set. I guess it would have to be. What color would you do it? The background forest being green kind of makes it difficult. You wouldn't green screen it, but you wouldn't want to blue screen it either because the fucking ocean's blue.
I mean, you rotoscope it and then change it?
Ah, that would be a whole different process. I don't know. That'd be.
なんてことないだろ、キスぐらい。
本気ですか？
うん。大変です。ゆうちゃんの乗った車が。
It's funny that we didn't see Yuchan in the car, though.
I think he's in the back seat.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We saw the two people in the front seat, but we don't get to see what original Mao looked like. My hero. Now, if she was a real Name, she could sing and fly a rock, and they could get out of here. Okay, so he's a cyborg. Oh, so he is a cyborg. That explains his weird fashion sense. I almost completely forgot her PTSD.
誰だブレラスターン。
And he leaves.
Sorry, I also just realized I completely forgot to bring up the board, which I had his face on, but no name. So now he just got his name.
私いきなりヒュドラにどうして
Not a Hydra.
覚えていないのか
That's the name of it, yeah.
That's not a Hydra.
もしかして
いや
That's what they name it here.
I don't
I
give
know
a
a
shit.
Hydra is
That's
something.
not a Hydra. I'm not gonna remember that thing as a Hydra. I'm gonna be saying like it's a cat with wings before I say Hydra. If you're gonna discount all of Macross 7 as important, I'm not calling that thing a Hydra.
来ましたよ。
ランカちゃん、ニュースですよ。ウルトラスーパービッグニュースです。
God, I don't like Elmo. He's a fine guy, but it's the fact he has the Kridak last name that's fucking me up.
メインテーマとして使いたいって。
よかったじゃないか。これで。待て。
I'd prefer as if his name was Elmo Suzuki. That would be better for me.
キスすることに。
キスって
Okay, in fairness, Mao kissed Shin. You shouldn't be kissing her back.
お前は過去を取り戻したいのだろう。なら二度と勝手な行動はするな。
Again, I can't recognize the voice. I'm gonna guess Grace still. I don't remember if that was in my notes section or not, but my guess was Grace is the other voice.
どうしてすぐ引き受けないの？アルトちゃんとキスするの嫌？
まだ決心ついてないみたいね。
Like you said, Cheryl is the whole dominant one in this
そういうアルトはどう
love shape.
怖いんです。私にできるのかなって。キスのこともお芝居のことも。私マオのことよくわからなくって。お姉さんがサラが好きになった男の人のことを好きになって、それで自分からキスまでしちゃって。
まだ本気で恋をしたことがないのね、ランカちゃんは。
俺ならやれるさ。
そうよね。大したことないものね。キスなんて。
ああ。でもあいつにはきっと。
See what I mean? Like right here on the beach, right in front of her. That's why I said she's the enemy of Ranka.
本気にしたやだもう。何マジになってるのよ。自分で言ってたじゃない。キスなんて大したことないって。
シェイリル、てめえ。
The big deal to Ranka.
I say, did you ever play Until Dawn?
No.
Well, this is like an exciting incident in Until Dawn. And literally a character just like Shiraname does to somebody.
監督、やらせてください。私に魔を。
Well, Mao could hold her breath for ever, so we're gonna need you to do that.
わかる気がするの。魔王の気持ちが。
C47 カット11アクション。
Here we perfectly rebuilt Birdman.
シン、お姉ちゃんのこと好きなの？私を見て、私だってあなたのことを。
I also feel like real Mao kissed him for longer.
True. I mean, it's more that the point is the kiss here, not the fact that.
Well, the point was actually that Mao was kissing him to pass him oxygen because Mao was apparently part fish, as per their mythology. Wasn't Mao on board an aircraft carrier wearing a...
Yeah. Of course, this is their interpretation of events.
I know, but Macross Zero is like my favorite one, so like nitpicking. How great would it be if real Shin and Sarah showed up right now with their time travel thing?
やっぱりシンは鳥の人ね。
Also, how quickly is the turnaround from filming this and just showing the movie?
Well, they actually started showing the movie, and then we went back to the filming. Well, I'm somewhat disappointed by two things. One, if the rest of Macross Frontier was just them reenacting all of Zero, I would have been happy.
Okay.
Good. I really like Zero. Zero was good, and it would have been more Zero. Two. Oh shit! Now I can't remember what the first one was actually my bigger one, and now I can't remember what it was. It was something very simple too.
Okay. The switching of the actress?
No, I got over that. The episode didn't focus much on her. I can't remember. It's lost to me. I made the joke one first and lost the serious one. Oh, I thought we were legit at the end of the episode. Are we?
Kinda.
The credits played, and I thought they were the real credits. The insanity of showing us fake credits in the middle of an episode, or near the end of an episode. Oh, the real thing. The real disappointment is that Macross Zero came out before Macross F. I would have preferred it if Macross Frontier came out first and then Macross Zero came out later. Also, there's one real problem that I'm seeing. I'll wait till after.
スターダムへ登り始めるランカ。だがその道はアルトたちとの距離を広げてゆき。次回ミッシングバースデー。戸惑いの歌。
It's always a birthday episode in these things.
Oh, we already had the beach episode, so.
I kept calling him Franklin. His name was Edgar. There was no Edgar in any of that.
Oh, I mean, he gets mentioned, I suppose. Like, where's the other guy that was Mimi? But, you know, he
Yeah, they don't show him. I mean, pointedly, I don't want to be that guy, but there was no black people except for, obviously, our gay makeup guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, anywhere on that set.
That's true.
and Edgar was a real character. Well, I mean, also legitimately the Mayans were all their own culture too, but I mean that's a different thing. That's a completely different problem. I guess it's not really a problem considering the two Names are, well, Ranka's not a Name, we don't know. Cheryl was there, so I guess that's legitimately the bloodline of the island inhabitants.
Yeah.
Lending credence or at least acceptability. No, my other point was I would have preferred it if Zero came out after this.
Mm.
In that this would be more of the show stuff, indicating to something that we don't know about, and then Zero comes out later, and it's like, hey, remember that one story from that Frontier episode?
Yeah.
Let's tell you how that really happened. Instead, this is like, hey, remember that other show? Let's show you how that happened.
It's the Remember Berries. It's fan service. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I would prefer if it wasn't
but it's in the
Berries.
service of moving Ranka's story forward, right? How does Ranka become, the other, star? Because she's being blocked in every opportunity. Now she, her talent shines through, and also moving forward the mystery of, who Leon is talking to and who is this cyborg kid who could just, V1 this giant creature and just cut it in half and eviscerate it with one hit. It's like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna fight him.
So I guess everybody's getting power-ups. Now the people have exoskeleton flying suits that they could use whenever they want that are super strong based on the whole, hey, can you carry an egg thing, which is something you only have to do to show us that they're too strong and you have to have fine motor control to be able to. So that's the power-up we've got for people that aren't cyborgs. We've got cyborgs, and we have people who can just hack computers, which is great. Because we're in a sci-fi future where everything's fucking computer run, right? So
yeah.
And now we've got Cyborg Ninja Guy. He's
so
Genji.
We got your you said your cyberpunk in my Macross, basically.
I don't have a problem with it. It's just like
I don't either.
We've superpowered the bad guys with the Proto Devlin. I mean, obviously they're not around anymore, but it was literally just how do we make all the powers into a human-sized body? Cool, we've done that once. Can we do that with the humans now? Or the Zentradi or whatever?
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, again, not as much problems with it. Archamus Marin Descendant wasn't really in the episode enough for me to be concerned about it. I mean, I wish we got more Sarah representation, but
he was basically telling you that this. I think the way they handled it actually was pretty smart, because right off the bat, yes, we're using the framing device of the bird people and Zero, but the real focus is not on that. The real focus is on Ranka, Alto, and Cheryl, right? Especially Ranka. This is basically a Ranka episode, right? Ultimately,
I guess focus is objective.
Focus is objective or subjective?
It's objective.
Oh,
the focus is whatever you focus on, right? You can have you can have the intent to have focus on a thing, but if I'm paying attention to something else, then my focus is clearly not on it. So, the focus being on Ranka, Cheryl, and Alto also places them in the costumes and the scenes from Macross Zero, which is what I'm focusing on. So it's the fact that the characters are there pretending to be other people is what I'm seeing. So the focus is on the story of Ranka, sure, I understand that. But I liked Macross Zero so much that I'm just seeing Macross Zero.
So what you're really saying is your focus is subjective.
No. Everyone's focus is subjective.
Exactly.
That's what I said. I said focus is subjective.
But you said objective earlier. I actually questioned objective versus subjective. You said, no, it's objective. I'm like, what?
I don't remember. But at the same time, I think that's probably also true.
I mean, you're right when you say that it is subjective. I agree with that. It's
Right?
just,
No. I'm saying objective probably works too.
oh, that means that it cannot really be questioned. 'Cause
Well,
it's
no, I
factual.
think it didn't. Hold on. Sorry, sometimes the definition of words may not be what I'm thinking they are. Okay, you're right. No, I was thinking that I was thinking literally the opposite of the definition of the word objective.
Now, it could have been their objective, as I see it, to use the callback to Zero as a framing device, as I said earlier. But as you mentioned, because you like Zero so much, you were focusing on that.
Yeah.
But for example, the one scene where she's like, "Oh," because the one scene where the other girl is supposed to be the star of the movie, she is trying to assert dominance. Like, "Oh yeah, I know you. By the way, don't mess up my movie," right? And then Cheryl shows up, which she's the bigger star. She's like, "Oh, she's gonna do the I'm she's the kind of person that beats up on people that she believes it's beneath her. But the moment someone is on top of her, she's like, oh my God, you're just talking up to them." And Cheryl just shuts that down completely. Like literally, she just walks past her and talks to Ranka directly. And that's brilliant because it basically tells us you see here, she's part of the setup, she's part of the construction, but the real point is Ranka, right? With Cheryl sort of egging anything on. In fact, the whole Cheryl kissing Alto has a double meaning. I think Cheryl is actually showing her emotions, but also trying to be helpful to Ranka, because that's like Ranka was like, "Oh, okay, now I get it. I'm gonna do it," right?
I didn't
She
see it
says
as being
aloud,
helpful to Rinka at all. I agree with you. That's expressing her feelings, and she gives that like look back at him, and he's not expressing anything back. So she puts up the wall real quick. I'm just fucking kidding. You think I put myself out there like that? I'm not putting myself out there to get hurt. That is stupid.
He's shocked. It's like, oh, like he's processing what he
No,
means
it's
by
that. It's like if I said I loved you and you didn't say it back immediately, and instantly I was like in defense mode, like, oh shit, I said it way too quick. We're not in that yet. Oh no.
Yeah.
That's what was happening. I felt like.
Let's go back. Abort.
What did you say? I said I love you. Give a dub bar. I don't know. Oh man, no, that's what I mean. That's what I saw happening there. Also, the idea of the James Marin descendant being the lead of that movie feels weird, because technically Alto should be the lead of that movie, and he's not even on stage, was he?
No, he was only brought. Well, first it was a suggestion that he would play a female character, and he was like, "No, I'm not going to do that. I'm done with that."
I'm forgetting for the fact that Alto was brought in for the underwater scene because whatever the dude's problem was for not being in the contract. I don't remember him being on stage either.
No, he was just providing like technical assistance because the
No, not Alto. I'm talking about the other guy, the guy who was actually playing Shin.
Yeah, I mean, he was just.
I don't remember him being on stage or not.
No, I think he was. I'm not really sure.
I only remember the presenter, the James Marin descendant, and then then Rankin gets brought up. Because
Cheryl's also on stage. I know that much.
Well, Shin should be the main character of that movie.
Yeah.
And then Sarah and Mao are basically equivalent. I know the actual events of Zero put a lot of emphasis on Sarah, but she doesn't have like a lot of actual scenes in Macross Zero. Mao gets more because Mao is presented as if there is a character, a secondary point of view character besides Shin, it'd be Mao, and that Mao is getting told the stuff. Mao has stuff acting upon her. Mao is the center point of character interaction when it comes to the tribe. Like when the tribe gets all moved to the aircraft carrier and say the head guy has to tell somebody something, he says it to Mao. Mao gets experimented on. Mao is the center point for the scientist story plot.
Yeah.
Mao is the surviving character at the end of the movie that we focus on as Sarah and Shin fly away. Everything I would say more than 33% of the story focuses on Mao.
Which makes Ranka that much more important in playing her role, right? She kind of steals the show, right? She's the dark horse character that everybody focuses on, right? In fact, when you see about it, she was just part of the audience, right? And then it's like, oh, by the way, we have her in the audience. Like, oh, you're gonna talk about me, and then the director goes like, oh, now you're gonna become a legend, that kind of thing, right? It's like that she stole the show, right? But and remember, that's her song that gets featured because the original song was going to be a Cheryl song that was from her album. It was like, oh, we got the rights for it. We're going to use it. And she's like, well, write you a new one. It doesn't work, right?
I mean, it'd be like bringing like the cast of Armageddon up on stage and then having Liv Tyler having to get pulled out of the audience. It's like, what? She was like not a nobody in the movie.
Yeah, but Liv Tyler is somebody who was by that time already known. That's why she was casted.
I'm not using it as an example of not being famous. I'm saying like Liv Tyler was in the movie and he didn't bring her up on stage with you. It's like, what?
Yeah.
She was like the motivation for all the character shit in the movie.
Yeah.
Well, that and the IRS.
True.
But
that was a dumb movie. Fun, but dumb.
I mean, it Deep Impact.
Deep Impact was a little bit better, I think.
I mean that they were congruent movies. Like they both released in the same same quarter. But sorry, I had another thought and I can't remember.
Deep Impact got a deeper impact. Anyway, go ahead.
No, I couldn't remember. Couldn't remember the other thought.
Yeah. So I think it's a good episode. I liked it. The whole thing with the Hydra was kind of weird. I think it only was there so Choka's like, badass over here showed up and eviscerated it.
Other thought is clearly the person who was playing Mal before is dead.
I don't think so.
She wasn't at the stage. They had to bring Ranka in as the person who replaces her near the.
Yeah, but I think if she had died, I think they would have made a bigger stink about it. It's like, oh, they said they had an accident. No, like, oh, well, she's dead. Too bad.
But literally, we see the truck, and nobody's like crawling out of the truck. The truck is just sitting there, which implies that it got hit, and then nobody tried to escape.
I think it was just shorthand for they literally say, now I'm going to go for literally what they say. They had an accident. Not, oh my God, bring the ambulance because they're dead. Right?
Well, I mean, I don't think bringing an ambulance to dead people is like a pressing matter anymore. If they're dead, they're dead.
Eventually, I mean, I think that would have cost for the suspension of the scene. Like, oh, we have dead people.
Well, to be fair, they didn't have to suspend the scene because Mao and Alto were also being attacked. Literally, I think the scene was suspended.
I know, suspended the movie. I mean, I think it would have had a little more impact other than, oh, well, they're dead. Let's go on.
Well, for one, that's modern day sensibility.
Yes, it's in the future, dude. Come on.
Yeah, it is in the future. After the Earth's population got wiped out, maybe we don't care that much anymore.
Okay, come on. We've done like extensive scenes on people being buried and all that. I think.
Did we? I think we've seen extensive scenes on people being recycled. Apparently, we don't care that much anymore.
No, because there was also the.
Also, Michael's sister got buried, but dude who's been fighting in the horses got recycled. I guess technically she was in the military, so you don't get a court-martial for being a mercenary, I guess.
So people have been mourned, and people have been made. It's like, I don't think that if they had been killed, it would have been like, oh, well. Yeah.
Maybe she was of the social class that gets recycled, in which case we don't actually mourn them. Or the majority of people don't mourn them. Apparently your close friends come to the recycling center to see you bubble away. I don't know what you do in there, because what we saw was the body float down. We didn't see them dissolve or anything. I could say it would have been a little bit horrific for that. See the muscles and everything go away. Like, oh, God.
I mean, we saw a creature get eviscerated, and we also saw him got squished so hard that his entire blood came out of the ground. So it was a gory non-discretion shot, basically.
Again, it's the fact that she's not at the stage and she doesn't get mentioned. Implying to me that she's dead. I don't know. She should have mentioned her if she was dead. They should have mentioned her if she was injured. Like the Oscars or something, or in memoriam, or whatever. nothing.
I
It's
mean,
like they didn't think Mal was a big part of the movie, so
it could have been in the what's in no, I don't think I know. I think that the credits were odd because the show kept going and then we didn't get a credit scene. So I think those credits are the credits for the episode and not the credits for the movie. Although they're made to appear like the credits of the movie.
Obviously an easier read if you read Japanese. So
yeah. So it could have been this, like, oh, by the way, yeah, the actress died. Too bad.
I hope this isn't a thing going forwards. That's all. Random creature attacks in the middle of the ship. Like, it wasn't a Vajra like I thought it was going to be. It was just a creature that we'd seen before. Like, pet got loose sort of situation.
And somehow it evolved to get bigger and meaner than before.
Well, we saw Zentradi playing with it, so there's no telling if, like, this is a pet of that nature, right? A pet that you can have while you're a Myclone, and a pet that you can have while you're a full-grown Zentradi.
Although, Ranka recognizes, like, oh, a Hydra attacked me. Why would a Hydra attack me? So she was shocked at the fact that this creature would attack her, right? Like, apparently, it's like, you have a poodle, and so the poodle, grows and starts to kill people or something like that. It's like, oh, why would a dog attack me, right? Kind of situation. So she seemed shocked by it.
Sphinx. I'm gonna go with Sphinx. Maybe a Manticore?
No. It's a winged cat. That's what it is.
Yeah. The Sphinx is a winged cat. A Manticore is a winged cat.
Sphinx has a human face, though. And Manticore has a tail of a snake, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And a head of a goat and whatnot else. No. Manticore has spiky. Well, in D&D has spikes in its tail. I don't know if it.
Maybe a Lamasu?
And the face of a lion. Lamatsu?
Lamasu.
Nah, anyway.
Look, we speak English, and in English, a Hydra is something different. It'd be different if it was like a fucking huge Vajra that doesn't look like anything, right? And we say, oh, well, it's a sci-fi thing, we'll call it a Hydra. But this is like a winged cat, which we have multiple mythological names for. We don't have to call it something else. Next thing, we're gonna be attacked by, like, I don't know, a 17-foot long snake with 3 heads. It's like, it's the Cerberus. It's like, what the fuck are we doing here anymore?
I would have passed them anyway.
All right. Well, final thoughts?
Nope, that's it.
All right. Well, once again, I have been Theta. This has been Lessons. We've been Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.